Episode 25 with Merugu Solomon Saneev, Suman vs.
Are you a YouTuber or a game developer looking for high quality sound effects library? Zapsplat.com is for you. Download your sound now.
Dear friends, this Monday I am back with a brand new episode of Suman vs. Human, and I'm super excited because today I'm going to present our real superhero. The real superhero who can be touched and felt, because you know very well that I really don't believe in Marvel superheroes. So this moment is a proud moment for me because I have a person from Indian Army. Without any delay, I am so glad to welcome Colonel Merugu Solomon Saneev. Sir, welcome to Suman vs. Human.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suman, for your warm invite. Looking forward to a very fruitful talk.
Whenever we come across any personnel from army, we feel so proud and we couldn't control ourselves to salute them. Getting into army, what I heard and what we realize is a difficult and crucial critical task. It's not easy. That is what we understand from a perspective of standing outside army. Now, before we get deep into it or before we prolong this conversation, at the first step, I want to understand and know what made you to take up this profession, career, or opportunity of joining Indian Army. I want to know more details in depth about yourself, sir, your personal life.
I have been born and brought up in Hyderabad, and I went to a convent school where I joined the NCC and did my NCC training because I was fascinated by the discipline which is there in the armed forces, the uniform, the way of life, because our home is next to the camp. So I used to see soldiers exercising in the morning at a neat and clean place in good order, always kept in a very tidy manner. That definitely motivated me to look up to the army in the Second Ward camp as a very cherished place where I could reach as a young boy. So by the time I finished my graduation, I was motivated enough to take the UPSC exam, which is called the Combined Defense Services Examination. And I qualified in the exam. So, uh, along with my final year graduation, I already was selected. So, I joined the academy. I didn't have much breathing time and went through the training and then got commissioned. So, saying that this has been a, a career path or a service path of choice would be more a career path of destiny.
Mm.
Because possibly I wished for it so much that God has enabled me, assisted me in passing, and also having a very fruitful and illustrious career in the Indian Armed Forces.
It was the discipline what has captivated you to join army?
Yes, ab initio as a student and an NCC cadet, I loved the discipline part of it. And definitely after I've joined, there were so many more things like regimentation, camaraderie, the love for your troops and leadership, fighting for a just cause and for your motherland. There are so many which can motivate you to continue serving, and be motivated for the rest of your career.
Working with army is staying away from your family and friends, social life. So how do you justify that, sir? Because for that you need a lot of courage to take that decision to take a forward step, right?
True. So you see, everything comes with sacrifices. If you see all India services, whether it's in the armed forces or even the civil services, for for that matter, Indian foreign services, or for that matter, maybe at a lesser level, the train drivers, the ticket train examiners, and the people who drive vehicles on transport or the ships who are in the merchant navy, all professions come with a challenge of gaining some and losing some.
Hmm.
So, army is more difficult because the working conditions are away from civilization.
Hmm.
Therefore, separation is a part and parcel of the armed forces. Uh, I would also bring out here that I, being from a fighting arm, uh, fighting arms are very few. They are only the armored corps, infantry, and the mechanized infantry,
Hmm.
and the rest of the army is actually services who look after the needs of operations. They have a more stable job, more you know.
Administrative.
Administratively, they are more comfortable. They don't come into the field as often as we go. So it's a shade better. Because it is difficult, definitely. Your point is pertinent. I missed out on lots of occasions at home, marriages, my friends' marriages got cut off because in 1988 we didn't have a phone as well in the
Yes.
forward
Yes.
areas. So once you're out, you're gone. The only way people will come to know that you're alive is that they don't get any bad news,
Telegram.
anything, or
Yes. Yes.
an occasional letter from me.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's assumed that there's no news is good news,
Hmm.
right? So it was difficult then. But post maybe 2010, we started having communications everywhere. So it became a little better. However, a life of sacrifice, like I brought out earlier, it is an imperative that if you want to serve your country in whatever capacity, whether as a aircraft pilot or in the merchant navy or in the Indian army or in the civil services, there would be certain amount of sacrifices, and they come as part and parcel of your service to your country.
Colonel, you said you were a part of fighting force. I have this question for which I am so curious to listen to an answer. That is, I take fear and sadness both in a different way. So, for a fighting soldier, when you're sleeping in the night, when you're about to sleep, first question comes on your mind is, will I wake up peacefully in the morning? When you're going to the bed, are you going to the bed with a fear or the sadness?
And like all other experiences in life, you toughen up as you start gaining experience. So we have a system in the army where we have sentries and we take rounds to keep vigil.
Hmm.
So the bonding and the trust between buddy pairs and the platoon and a troop or a company is such that you know that your men will guard your back when you are sleeping,
Hmm.
and you are there to guard their back when they are resting. So the anxiety of fear that possibly you may get killed is reduced.
Hmm.
However, I would like to bring out here that, especially on a forward force, the possibility of getting bombarded by the enemy's artillery or mortars is always there. And that is something we have to live with.
mm,
So I would possibly say that over a period of time, you take it in your stride that if it has been written that you will die, you will die.
mm,
Otherwise, if
mm,
God's there with you and even 1,000 bullets are not going to harm.
mm, mm,
So there is no undue worry. You can have a good night's sleep or sleep in your turn peacefully because your friends or your soldiers, your team is guarding
mm.
and safeguarding the post.
When I look at the youth of this country, or for that matter, any country, they have got a lot of dreams about their career, their aspirations. Like everyone wants to become engineer, everyone wants to become doctor, and everyone wants to become IPS, IAS. They want to join civil, or they want to become an entrepreneur, musician, singers. But only 1% people wants to take up defense like you. Was the fear of death which is stopping them to come forward, or it is lack of awareness they are stepping back?
Times have changed, and there are more avenues for gainful employment. And especially with our country, yes, definitely we still have issues with our neighbors. But in most of the countries, these issues have been settled.
Hmm.
Of late, we have the Russia Ukraine war happening,
Yes,
Israel, Gaza, Hamas tangle, which is there.
yes.
These are localized uh, battles which are ongoing. As far as motivated youth are concerned in the country, the armed forces is a very, uh, I would say, elitist in the matter
Hmm.
that you have to volunteer to serve in your army, right?
Hmm.
If you're
Yes.
motivated enough, only you have to write the exam. And for roughly around 400 seats per 6 months, around 10 to 12 lakh children appear.
Hmm.
And we get a good crop of motivated young men and women to join us. So there is no crunch as far as joining is concerned because we are a overpopulous country and we get adequate, uh,
Yes.
good caliber leadership. And also, you would have recently heard about the Agniveer scheme,
Hmm.
which is something like a very short service for the at a Jawan's rank of 4 years. That has also got a lot of takers. It is not that it is undersubscribed. So the issue of youth not joining uh, is a very personal matter.
Hmm.
There are adequate young men and women who love their country and are willing to go through these hardships and protect their motherland. There's no problem.
But sir, what do you say? Do we have a sufficient force of army in terms of number?
Yeah, you see, for our requirement presently, we have sufficiency. Now, also, any organic organization does not only depend on its manpower,
Hmm.
upgrading of its weapons, its equipment, restructuring of its manpower into more hybrid units or more capable units which have maybe a family of weapons. These things are constant.
Hmm.
So, as per the present plans, we have adequate strength of the Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy to protect our country and its borders.
What if the battle attacks from a various point of boundaries, like let's say one battalion is attacking your east, one battalion is attacking your west, one at north? So do we still have a sufficient armed force to handle it
Yes,
simultaneously?
Yeah, we have.
Sir, and when it comes to Russia, what I know, correct me if I'm wrong, they got biggest armed force, right? So that big is in the favor of number or the infrastructure.
Russia has been a traditional superpower as far as the military is concerned, both in terms of weapons, equipment, and manpower. Because World War One, World War Two, and their present security concerns have ensured that they have a huge army.
Mm.
So Russia is very well equipped and has got a huge repository of weapons and a time-tested army, which has fought two world wars and lots of local skirmishes. So uh, it is a mighty army in its own right.
You have participated in wars. I want to understand one strategy when you are in the war. Though the situation demands emergency decisions, you have to rely on commands of the superior, or the person above you in terms of hierarchy. But don't you people get frustrated when you wanted to do something else and the command is something else?
No, we have leaders at all levels from a platoon, then a company, then a battalion, a brigade, and higher above to a division at the core levels. At all levels, decision making happens. It's not that there is only one order. And there are discussions which happen, and planning is done even before we join an operation or we start an operation. And within the plan, we have a lot of planning called contingency planning. What if this happens? What if that happens? How we'll do this when we. And besides all that, sometimes or most of the times, our plan does not survive the contact. The enemy is also having his own plans.
Mm.
So, in that point in time, to fight like a cohesive force, commanders at various levels exercise their right to take decisions, and their command will follow that decision. And that is why we are trained to be disciplined soldiers.
Mm.
So it is not an issue because from the time we have joined, we have been, uh, molded and trained to stick together as with each other and fight as a team.
Sir, I would love to listen to your real time experience. What is the most memorable experience of yours during the war?
The skirmishes which have happened, which I was actively involved in, and counter-terrorist operations, etc. My most memorable experience was when the leadership of National Democratic Front of Borderland came up to me and said, "Sir, we want to surrender." So I said, "Okay, how many people are you guys?" So they said, "We are 2,630 people."
Oh.
I said, "What?" They said, "Yes, we all want to surrender." So when I was posted in the northeast in Assam, in a place called Kokrajhar district, which is a hotbed of militancy of Bodoland at that point in time, in a full football field over 3 days, we had 2,630 militants surrendering. They laid down their arms, which was almost half of the football field, bhar gaya pura. And the Deputy Prime Minister of India at that point in time, Shri Lal Krishna Advani ji, flew to Kokrajhar to oversee the surrender, along with the late then Chief Minister of Assam, Mr. Tarun Gogoi, and our own, army officials who also assisted. So, why it is memorable is when I was a major, I was a staff officer looking after operations under a commander. When I told the commander and the higher ups that this is what they've said, nobody believed me.
Mm,
I couldn't believe myself. I said,
mm,
yeah, I hope they are not making, false promises. But it actually happened. It is one of the biggest surrenders which has ever happened in our country.
yes. Great, sir. And I am so excited and I can't stop myself to salute you, sir. Team Suman versus Human salutes you.
Thank you.
Like me, there might be many of my listeners that who don't know much about army hierarchy or designations. So I just want to know what actually the designations are.
Army designations wise, we are divided into two parts. That is, as a Jawan. So you join as a Jawan, then you become a Lance Nayak, then you become a Nayak and a Havildar, then you become a Naib Subedar, Subedar, and a Subedar. That is the ranks which the Jawan progresses on.
Mhm.
And if there is meritorious service towards the end of his career, the government and the army gives him a honorary rank of a lieutenant or a captain. As far as the officers are concerned, the first rank after you finish your training is that of a lieutenant. Then you become a captain after 2 years. Then you become a major after 5 years. Then you become a lieutenant colonel after 13 years. Then you have a selection grade till lieutenant colonel. It is time bound promotion.
Mm,
After that, then you get into selection grade um, ranks, which are a colonel. After that, then a brigadier, then a major general, then a lieutenant general, and the senior most lieutenant general, as per the government's nominee, will become the chief after commanding the army.
this is a huge hierarchy and that requires a lot of hard work and also administrative and also fighting skills. But now my question is, sir, all these big names, designations, and hierarchies, and all these big warriors are governed and administered and commanded by the political person in the name of ministry. I know I should not ask this question, but out of my curiosity, is this the right way how these things has to be governed?
All systems are evolutionary in nature. The point I want to make is we have inherited this system from the Britishers.
Mm,
And from the time we have inherited it, a lot of restructuring, reorientation, division of work, separating verticals from each other, and a lot of developments have happened. And all systems, when you look at them, always have a scope for improvement.
mm,
And the civil army interface also has scope for improvement. And uh, that scope for improvement depends on a lot of factors. Who is the politician or who is the government in power? What is their capacity and capability? The present verticals of civil services and the armed forces, how can they integrate with each other? And what are the dynamics of the lower staff? We've got another cadre called the defense civilians who are peculiar to getting posted only in our headquarters in Delhi.
mm,
How do we manage them? We've got a huge amount of estates around the country called the defense estates. How do we manage them? So all these ab initio, uh, as the Britishers had designed, were under different heads of the army only. But over a period of time, the civilians have taken over, new cadres, new structuring has happened. And this is a evolving process.
mm.
So, yes, there is definitely scope for improvement. And I'm sure as time goes by, more refined ways of interacting between the uh, politicians, the civil services, and the armed forces will come about.
Recently, government has put a proposal of taking transgenders into Indian Army, and there is a lot of huge debate happening over it. How do you welcome this move, sir? What is your point of view?
There are army, like I've already told, is got when you look at army, inside the army there are the fighting arms, and then there are the services, right?
Mm, mm,
Fighting arms presently don't have any women,
mm, mm,
so we have insulated that part away from the women because our working conditions are harsh, number
mm,
one,
mm, mm,
and not taking anything away from the women. We have adequacy of manpower
mm,
in our country,
mm,
so we can afford to keep it insulated. And our working conditions, unlike the other armies, is actually very tough, which I cannot actually bring it out here.
mm,
That it is difficult for a woman to survive with us if they are not in equal number,
mm.
right?
Yes,
Because the way we live on the tank, marching away, no tent, going
yes,
to freshen up in the open
yes. No toilets.
uh, or in our open, open deep trench latrines and stuff like that.
Yes,
Taking a bath or wherever we can, with just a underwear. These
yes,
sort of things you can't do, So these are service conditions which are difficult,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
I'm not
yes.
taking away anything from, the ladies. They're equally capable. But the conditions of working are difficult, and since we have adequacy of manpower in our country, we can we can afford to insulate the fighting arms
Mm,
and
mm.
see that the manpower is, or men are there so that we don't have other issues.
Yes.
However, in the services, it's a very welcome step that we are providing equal opportunity to the women.
Mm,
And presently, it is also being studied whether transgenders also can be, inducted into the armed forces. That would also happen in these areas, which I feel with dignity of life and equal opportunity, I'm sure we will find areas where they can serve the country.
and what we see in the cinema and also what we are told by the commercial media that normally defense personnel or army personnel are provided with very good food and also liquor. Is that true, or this is all exaggerated?
We have something called rations. Now,
Hmm.
those rations are calculated as per the calories, the intake, the proteins, and all, and they're issued to the men so that they remain healthy, right?
Hmm.
So that is the food part of it, and that amount is deducted from our overall salary.
Hmm. It is not provided free.
It's not free. The name free ration has been used in a manner which is mischievous by the civil servants.
Hmm.
There is nothing free. have, for the service a soldier does, whatever is being given to the soldier, right, is
Yes.
not commensurate. Not commensurate because it is intangible. That
Mm.
man is going to give his life for his country.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what is being given in terms of ration or a modest pay is an intangible.
Mm.
But having said that, there has to be a yardstick. So that is what is being given.
Mm.
है ना? But
Yes.
saying that is free is incorrect.
Mm.
The
Yes.
second part about the liquor is not free. It is available in the army canteens for the soldiers to buy. Only in field we have something called the duty free rum,
Mm-hmm.
which is issued to us, and it is not issued in bottle, it is only issued once or twice a week in the term of pegs because it is
Oh.
very cold.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
that is a very small incentive the government gives to the soldiers.
Mm. Mm.
Rest of it, canteen, we get it at a true value price because in the civvy street, the same thing may be a little more expensive. And since the soldiers are paid very modestly, uh, that is a welfare measure which the government has extended to the soldiers.
We also know that liquor has been separately manufactured for defense. Is that true?
No, the liquor manufactured is the same. However, it is packed and labeled separately for us, right? Because we take it right from the factory itself. So you could definitely be assured of its purity.
When did you retire?
Last year.
After retirement, you are doing lot of charity, social work, and also you are mentoring lot of youth, also the senior level management, and also you are guiding startups. So we want to know your after retirement life.
So I retired last year and I've set up two companies. I'm also the state convener for education in Telangana. And at the school level, my company set up STEM labs, that is science, technology, engineering, and maths, robotic innovation labs in
Wow.
schools. As per the tenets of the Atal Innovation Mission, a flagship initiative by the government of India,
Wow.
and the postulates of the National Education Program 2020, we adhere to the national curriculum framework, and my curriculum and kits have been approved by the National Skill Development Council for academic excellence. And we also adhere to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for education, which have been adopted by our national education policy as well. So, schools can connect with me uh, for establishing robotics and innovation labs in their schools because artificial intelligence and machine learning are changing the way future citizens are going to be employed. So, learning construction, coding, and programming leading on to mechatronics is a life skill which all
Yes.
our children need so that they can become innovators and entrepreneurs like Atalji's vision for our country to
Yes.
become a superpower. So, this is very essential. It's a very pertinent point you've brought out. And through your platform, I would urge all principals to contact me and we would be extending ourselves and doing a very cost effective and a very constructive uh, initiative with academic excellence with the schools. As far as colleges are concerned, as the state convener, I do student development programs and faculty development programs. So, any colleges or students who are listening to this, they can connect with me I will be able to polish them off because it is an imperative that if you don't do placement assistance, the chances of getting a career oriented job becomes lesser. I'm also associate of the All India Management Association, whose patrons are the Prime Minister of India, the Defense Minister, and the Home Minister, and the Vice President of India. And they run very, very productive uh, graduate level and postgraduate online programs for rural and children from the towns who cannot afford to come to big cities to study. So I will be able to bridge them and help them crack the interview of All India Management Association and seek admission to government recognized and industry recognized graduate and postgraduate courses online.
And how about mentoring the corporates? Do you have any such programs?
Yeah. So I have done my career coaching and integrated life coaching from the US, and I do corporate team assessment for the corporates, wherein optimization of the role a particular person can play as per their qualities and abilities is what I check doing some psychometric tests. I also do career coaching for children or fresh graduates or final year degree students right from class 10 onwards so that they can plan out their lives properly, which I'm sure will hugely help these young people.
Yes.
And I do integrated life coaching for people in their uh, midlife who want to change careers, who have you know, personal or financial uh, needs and they need guidance, or for retired people who want to look forward to a productive later retired life because after you retire, you suddenly find that there's nothing to do. So what do I do? So all categories of people, since I've been trained in the course, I extend myself and help them out. So anybody can contact.
My message to the schools, colleges, and corporates, and also to the individuals, the kind of education system we have gone through in India is conventional. Having just that conventional education is not adequate to fight with the competition, what we are going through now and we are about to go through in the future. We need to excel. We need to excel ourselves, no matter how young you are, or no matter what age group you belong to, or no matter how old you are. We need to excel all the time. And whatever Colonel have just told you have to be considered very seriously, and that will definitely have impact in a larger scale. So the direct contact details to Colonel is in the description and also on the screen. So I request you to kindly get in touch with Colonel and make yourself and your team, your students, whoever you are associated, make their life better and meaningful and also rich. Colonel, I want you to make a blanket statement because what I understood is a person from defense not only save us from the enemy, they also rescue us in our hardships in the event of disasters that proved again and again, and also recently it has been proved in this tunnel rescue which have gone through in just couple of days. So I want you to make a blanket statement, give out a blanket message to all the citizens of this country.
To everybody across the board, I would like to say that getting a job is very easy. So after graduation, you could possibly become a receptionist in a hotel. But in 2, 3 years, you're going to forget what you've studied. and you will remain a receptionist or maybe a head receptionist for the head of rest of your life. So there is no career building happening there. So I will urge everybody that build a career, just don't do a job. And building the career starts from choosing a right job. That's where coaching and mentoring and showing you the right path will come, wherein you, after every 2, 3 years, you acquire a academic qualification or a certification, and you live your life to the fullest and serve to the best, and you make a career, and possibly lots of CEOs, the CBOs, CAOs, CAOs, Chief Operation Officers, and a lot of big uh, appointments in the uh, world are tenanted by children who plan out their careers and who don't just join any job which comes their way. So I would request everybody, plan your lives out well, work towards it. I'm sure, and you will get lots of success in your lives, and all the best.
Sir, one last question. I have this question for all my guests coming on Suman versus Human, and you will definitely have no option to say no, you have to answer this. If you have all the superpowers in your hand to change something in this country, what that would be?
I would say make education free for all, because there are lots of children who are facing challenges because of poverty and discrimination, possibly our caste system, economic deprivation, maybe often overpopulation. So there are lesser school, government schools, international schooling is expensive. If one thing can be changed, that we educate all our young people today, tomorrow they're going to grow up and they'll become engines of our country's growth. So if there's one thing I would love changing for a country, that would be providing education free for all.
Awesome. I wish that comes true soon. Thank you so much for giving me this beautiful opportunity. Thank you so much for making my movements proud. Thanks a lot for giving me this great chance to host you on Suman versus Human.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Suman. Best wishes.